Today's topic of discussion, the trap. Listen to me when you tell yourself that it's just one day. Whether it's one skipped workout or one day where you're just eating whatever is easiest, or one day of putting off the thing that you said you was going to do. And you are right, it is just one day. Because one missed session is not going to undo weeks of training. And one bad meal is not going to undo your health. And one day off will not unravel your business. So the sentence, it is true. One day on its own genuinely doesn't decide anything. But here is the catch. It's true today, and it will just be as true tomorrow and the day after that, which means that it never stops being available to you because you can reach for it every single day and it will never once be wrong. That's the trap, not the day itself. A sentence that is so reasonable that you never have to argue with it. So you never do. So by using "it's just one day" is a way to justify the old identity's actions rather than take an action to step into the new identity. And in this video, I want to give you a different way to measure your day. Not a sense of did today matter, but a different question entirely. One that doesn't let "it's just one day" off the hook quite so easily. Most people will think about their days in one or two ways, and both of them are wrong. Either today is a good day, which is proof that they've got this, proof that the change is real, and proof that they've basically arrived. Or today's a bad day. Proof that nothing is working, proof that they're still the old version, and proof that they should have known better. Now, both of those, they're verdicts. Final judgments based on a single size of one. And the problem with verdicts is they're either way too generous or way too harsh. But neither one is accurate because just one single day on its own is not big enough to prove anything. But here's the better frame. Treat each day as a contribution, not a verdict, but a deposit. It goes into a much bigger total, and it's the total that matters, not any individual entry into it. A bad day is one entry, and it doesn't erase everything that came before it. A good day is also an entry, but that doesn't seal the deal either. So remember, stop putting individual days on trial. No single day is big enough to determine the verdict on who you are. It's just one entry into a much longer record, and why this isn't about being perfect. A couple videos ago, I talked about acting as the version of you that you are becoming before it even feels earned. Acting first and the belief catching up after. Now that still holds because that is how the shift starts. And this video is about the opposite situation. What happens on the days that you don't manage that? The days that the old pattern wins anyways. Because here's the trap that people fall into next. They will hear build a new identity, and that will quietly translate into never slip again, and that you have to get every day right with no exceptions. But that's not realistic, and chasing it will backfire. Let's look at how an election actually works. Nobody needs to have every single vote in order to win. They just need to have the majority. Sometimes a narrow one. A bad day, a slip, an old habit winning for the afternoon. That is just a handful of votes for that other side. But it doesn't flip the result. Not unless it starts happening more often than not. Now this matters because that never slip version will set up an all or nothing trap. And the moment that you then have one off day, it suddenly feels like you've just blown it completely. And that feeling is what actually causes the bigger derailment. It's not the slip, but it's the story that you tell about the slip. So you don't need to have a perfect record. You just need to have a winning trend. One bad day has never once flipped a result that was already heading the other way. Here's the part that most people miss completely and where the real total actually comes from. When you picture a good day, you're probably picturing the big stuff. Did I get the work done? Was today productive? But what actually fills your daily total isn't usually the big stuff at all. It's what's happening in those gaps. The first 10 minutes after you wake up, what you reach for when you're bored, how you will talk to yourself the second that something goes wrong, and if you actually follow through with something that nobody else would even notice. Now those moments, they don't feel very significant because there's no resistance, there's no internal debate. You just default, return automatically, and move on. And that is exactly why they carry so much weight, because there's no friction from stopping that pattern from repeating day after day, just completely unexamined. So if you actually want to know which way your days are leaning, don't go and grade the headline. Look for the gaps. Boring, automatic, nobody is watching moments. That is where most of the real total is being built. So remember, the moments that shape you most aren't always the ones that you would put on a list. They're the ones that are too small for you to notice, which is exactly why no one ever checks them. And an example for me, when I used to be a victim of a productive day or an unproductive day, was only recent, to be fair, when I used to just look at things from the perspective of, if I didn't go and accomplish 100 different tasks in one day, did I really use my time wisely? Was there more I could have done? I found that I had time at the end of my day, so I'd be looking for ways to optimize other things and almost seeking to be busy as opposed to actually being productive, because I would conditionalize myself to believe that if I'm actually actively doing something, then that means it's helping me grow, it's helping me scale. But until I really stepped back and started to structure my day accordingly, and I didn't just pick up a task as it come into my mind and then pick up something else, I actually had a track record to say, I have done X, Y, Z today. I've done this training for my physical health. I've completed these tasks for my businesses. I've completed this for content. And then I could segregate everything up and see where I had progressed throughout the day, because a lot of what is happening is we're looking at everything from one lens. As I've already mentioned, we're looking at everything as just one day. But as it was tallying up and starting to build, I was convincing myself that I could have been more productive. I could have done more. And it keeps you constantly seeking and searching for more tasks that potentially may not even be contributing to the attainment of a goal that you've set for yourself. So by segregating my day up, having specific blocks on when I'm going to complete a certain task and I'm not going to walk away from it until that one's completed, then I had a true measurement on how successful my day had gone based on the efforts that I had put in the different areas of my life. And now I'm going to share with you what to actually do with this. 2 things, and keep both very simple. These need to become a habit and not a project. Number 1, check the gaps, not the whole day. Pick 2 or 3 of those very small reoccurring moments. The first 10 minutes after waking, what you reach for when you're bored, or how you will talk to yourself after a mistake. Just glance at those specific moments and don't grade the whole 24 hours. That's far too much for you to track. Sample those small gaps instead. And number 2, look at the week, not at the day. Stop asking yourself, was today a good day or a bad day? Ask yourself, over the last week, what direction has this actually been trending in? One day in either direction barely will move anything. But a week that is consistently leaning one way, that's the number that's actually worth paying attention to. So, listen to me when you tell yourself, it's just one day. You're right, it is. No single day will decide anything on its own. But the gaps, they're still adding up, whether you are watching them or not. And what fills them, not the headline, but the small automatic stuff, is what that real total is made of. You don't need to have every day perfect. You just need the trend pointing in one direction more often than the other. So stop grading your days as if they're good or bad. Start checking the gaps and start tracking weeks instead of moments. Because something strange happens when enough of those weeks all line up in the same way. That change is going to start showing up. And by the time that it's obvious, you usually can't point to the exact day that it happens. And that is exactly what the next video is going to be about. Why the change that you are working towards can feel completely invisible. Right up until the moment, it very clearly isn't. So, drop a comment below. One small automatic thing that you have done today completely unprompted. Which way was it pulling? So subscribe to the channel so the next video finds you when you need it. My name's Harley. Do the work, trust the process, and I'll see you in the next one.